But I believe that by overwhelming majority, you and I, in the long run, and if it be necessary, you and I will act together to protect, to defend, by every means at our command.
What you are seeing here is Brendan the Navigator, otherwise known as Brendan of Clonfert, and in the game you have to go around to megalithic structures and you have to match images on a stele that are painted on the statue in a certain angle, and you basically meditate and earn some energy and point it goes through you like a ley line. Now, during the 6th century, the Irish Celtic monk and sage Brendan of Clonfert encountered numerous standing stones in England, Finland, which is America, and the Isle of Skye, which had been engraved with mysterious symbols from an ancient script. He made writings documenting these findings and left them behind in each location. And what you're coming up here is quickly his voice in the game describing one of these.
Here in the ancient kingdom of Kent, the Jutes have brought me to where his fire burns through traces of the Nephilim. Here the Lord speaks to me again. He warns of betrayals, of struggles, of the trials of the first ones. I do not always understand his message. If he is warning me, it is because he believes I am worthy. He says there is one angel still trapped. She who must be released or joined. Must I find her? The kingdom of Bernicia and Elmet have granted me the right to worship here by edict of Yopa of Bernicia. The Nephilim were the only race with the strength to have moved such pillars, with the power of the Lord behind them. But what were they guarding against? Did you command them, Lord? Was it for the sin of people of other times? Was it to keep the demons out? I am proud the Lord speaks so cleanly through my soul here in Reconset. He talks of his instruments and asks that I be one. It appears the Nephilim were at battle here long ago. Against a great tempest, some few protected us. We must honor these ancient paths. I have explained what he left for us here to the Reckon dwellers nearby. Blessed be all those who tread in this holy light. I shall inform the local Waffingas that he lives among them through traces of the Nephilim, the giant warriors who fought for God in their ancient time. They have left his presence here on earth for us to absorb his light, the light of angels that have been infused throughout the earth. I feel his power. He calls me my beloved, and I am calmed. I respondeth with my communion, my piety, and become another of his voices.
So a little bit more on this, the fact that I've showed you a few of the things that's happened in the game, and basically what happens, you go to these sites, you see these images from Brendan, and you have to match them on the standing stones, and you have to go different angles, angels. You'll get what I'm on about if you've watched my latest video with Ryder. I've talked about it before. Anyway, what's interesting to me is this is a little excerpt from my book by Rudolf Koch. It's on signs, and I want to show you the passage first, and then I'm going to show you the signs, and you can see what I'm trying to get at with these symbols. And I'm talking about ley lines, lie lines, evil spirits, the fallen, and whatever you want to describe these entities as, because again, it's just perception. 2 signs used to exorcise evil spirits. In this case of both these signs, as with the pentagram and the octagram, it is worthy of note that they call for a certain dexterity, and that a clumsy person would unable to draw these. I'll draw them, and the signs in question that is in the book are the following. So, as you can see, these signs are from the book, and they are to ward off evil spirits. What they say is to ward off evil spirits. Again, these are found in the book, but if you remember back just a few minutes to the standing stones and some of the patterns, I'm going to put some of them at the side, and you can just see how lifelike they are. So there you go. On the right is the signs, and on the left is from the book. Again, very like at the bottom where it has 4, there's obviously 6, but the one above is nigh on identical, a little bit larger. But you can see why it intrigued me is if in the game, and again, yes, it is a game, but people like to tell me that they hide things in plain sight, and they love to use games, movies, books, you name it, to show you the message. So why can't this be what I'm trying to get at? The patterns are very nigh on identical. And if we go on a little bit further, I want to actually show you what is said at the pattern to the top right. So let's just go to it, and as you can see, these are again the pattern, and it says, and this is what Brendan says at this site, and that is the image. I have come upon these ancient timbers, tarred for preservation, to mark my sacred symbol and pinpoint the source of their power. Talking about the energy being the spirits in the ley lines. As I pray on your knees, as I pray, the Lord sends through me the voice of the Holy Spirit. It reverberates with the finery of ancient language, and I am in you. Were these timbers carried by the Nephilim, barriers against invasions from afar? Please, Lord, let this truth shineth upon me as bright as your word doth. Brendan of Clonfort, and this is in the game. So those symbols match, and from the book of signs, they said they're warding off evil spirits, and they're appearing on ancient standing stones. Now think about it, they used to paint these symbols. Obviously they might not be, well, some of them are not on stones, and I've always talked about this. Could these standing stones have been what these images are trying to portray, that these symbols, these cymatics, these sound patterns made into a medium, which are sigils, and are put on standing stones because they are focusing the power on those lines. And yes, this is a game, as I'm saying, but it's making perfect sense to me compared to what I've been talking about in the videos of the Lords of the Electric, or the Electric Lords, about energy lines. It's just absolutely like clarity I'm getting on these, and putting some research together from playing old games and finding stuff that intrigues me, and hopefully intrigues you. Because look, Brendan the Clonfort was a real person. Now I don't know if he left these signs for real. I know he did leave etchings, but these people in this game are trying to show you something, and we have to take notice. And they're talking about these ley lines being energy lines of the Nephilim, the Lord's, the Lord's spirit reverberating through me. And what did I say in the old video, the last video? That they energy of the Nephilim and cannot die, so they have to be harnessed somewhere, has to be sent somewhere. And I talked about it could be the ley lines, and this is what reminded me of the game, and that's why I'm making this video, just to show you what goes on in this crazy head. See what you guys think. So guys, you know I love giving you some wows. Some people hate it, I don't know why, but anyway, so it got me thinking about ley lines, and I've talked about this in the, the actual Elohim the Electric Lord. Could they be lying about it? Could these ley lines be actual prison, the grid to keep the spirit, the energy in and holding it, basically grounded? And obviously I've talked about this on the show I did with Ryder. If you've not saw that, please check it out. So let's have a look at the etymology of a few words. So this is just a generic map with some of the ley lines of England put on it. And I know a lot of people do some videos on ley lines, but I like to look at things a little bit differently. So Lee, or ley, as you can see at the bottom, is Lee. And that got me thinking, Lilu, the fifth element, a supreme being. And they've named it Lilu. So back onto this. So a supposed straight line connecting three or more prehistoric or ancient sites, sometimes regarded as the line of a former track and associated by some with lines of energy and other paranormal phenomena. Origin ley, 1920s. So that got me thinking. I swear I remember talking about it in a very, very old video, that ley lines actually is related to a lie. And lo and behold, I just put ley in and, the etymology. And as you can see, ridge left at the edge of a ploughed field, ley, and then English. Obviously that language again, English that I've talked about. Old English, ledge, fallow, recorded in Lachog, ridge left at the edge of the ploughed field, related to ley, and I'll highlight it and I'll zoom in and magnify, lie. A lie line. And as you know, lie means telling something false or portraying something as false. It also means bed, obviously lying. So that's an intriguing connection, obviously, because I've talked about how we die every night and we lie down. Are we contributing to this ley line when we sleep? Who knows? Again, so that is lie lines. Why they're lying? What is the lie? So that got me thinking. We're talking about ley lines, energy harvesting, energy grid. But there's also another type of an electric phenomenon that is mentioned when you research, and here's the map of it. Now some will say there's 12, some will say there's 10, but it's what is known as the vile vortices. Now they are locations around the world that display a phenomenon that science so-called cannot put into words, and weird as I say, shit happens. Now in a very old post on social media many years ago, some of these enough all of those locations, there is what I call like harp locations, or an energy weapon or frequency at all of these locations that I found, and I posted them on social media. Some of the people that's followed me for a long time will know I did this post. So vile vortices. So what does vile vortices actually are? So as I was saying, paranormal regions sometimes are also known as vile vortices or devil's graveyards, bordered by sides of a triangle whose points are fixed at these three places. Remember, the divinity is shown by the triangle. Also in that video that I've not long done, the triangle was with the VIR for Ohm's law. So what does vile mean? Why call it vile vortices? An objective, vile, comparative adjective. So it's extremely unpleasant. He has a vile temper. Similar to foul, nasty, unpleasant, bad, disagreeable, horrid, horrible. Morally bad, wicked. As vile, as rogue as ever lived. Archaic or little worth of value. All the feasts that thou hast shared erewhile to mine shall be but vile. From Latin, vilis, of low value. Low value. And these are energy locations, and we've talked about the fallen being grounded to this realm, and they've known of these locations, obviously, that you can see on the map around this realm. Weird shit happens. But look at the word vile. It has an EL on the end. So I thought, you know what? Could we not say vile? VIEL. Vile. Vile. What would that mean? Well, vile, if we split it into two, vi in Latin is the ablative of vis or force. This makes a handy prefix also mean with violence, and you shouldn't run from that meaning. Force. VI is meaning force, vile, EL, something divine, Elohim, the fallen, blah blah blah, that I've talked about. Basically also the word for a god. Vile means force of God. And on this realm, at 10 or 12 locations, they're known as the vile vortices. Energy phenomenon. Just wow, just struck it out the park again, and I get really excited. But remember, one, as I just showed you, paranormal region known as vile vortices or devil's graveyards. If only someone did another form of devil. What would DEV mean? Wow, borrowed from Sanskrit, God the celestial one, devil the celestial one. But look, if you merge them, like I did with that Devere, look at the word vile, remember? VI. Viz, but also VI. So dev, DEVI, devil, force of the celestial one. Just wow, I'm getting the goosebumps, the tingling. My last video I talked about how these energy lines could be leylines, and they're there to trap and keep the fallen there. They are grounded, and now I've just shown you devil could be the force of God, the celestial one, the vile vortices. Why call it vile? And all that goes with that. Guys, just wow. I'm going to leave that with you. What can I say to that?
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep.
I've got, oh my god, why do I start and I've got the giggles. So welcome to, hello and welcome to What the Flock TV. Right guys, again I want to thank everyone who has liked, shared and subscribed and took time to comment on videos. I can't always get to them because I'm so busy, and also I'm very much YouTubed. So I would appreciate if you guys could just check that you don't unsubscribe. That does help. And just like the video, it just shows you appreciate it. If not, I'll not hold it against you. So thank you to that. And also I have to say a big thank you to anyone who has bought me a coffee in the past and in past videos. Please guys know it's humbling. I really get emotional. I always say it, but what can I say to it, because it does make me feel like I'm appreciated by you guys. So if you want to do that, the link's in the description. Onward with the video. So why have I done this video? It's like a part 2 to the Elohim, the Lords of the Electric, or the Electric Lords, which whatever way you choose you want to call it. And I want to thank you for all the people who just appreciated thinking a little bit different. I've had a lot of comments saying that they were thinking or have been thinking on the same lines. It's nice to see that, you know, we all put the puzzle together in very similar ways, but in our own unique way. And in that video, and since I've also appeared on Ryder's channel, Raised by Giants, please check it out, subscribe, give the brother some love. And I talked about the Assassin's Creed angle because I just found it fascinating, because, you know, all the world is a stage and we're merely players. What do you play? A computer game. People talk and disagree on what NPC means. Are we playing a game? Are we not playing a game? I've done videos on that. But in that I was talking about Assassin's Creed game on how you used to go to locations, megalithic standing stones, and there would be a sigil, cymatics, at that location talking about the Nephilim and how these are locations of the energy, and you used to meditate once you matched the picture out against that, and the energy would reverberate through you. People talk about this all the time, so this is why I've done it. I've had a lot of questions saying, Paul, can you just do a quick video on the Assassin's Creed Valhalla angle? You saw some of the things in it, and onwards with the video. So in the game, you come over from, you know, Norway, and you land in England, and it's roughly in the medieval times. Again, these are a lot of things I've learned from this game, talking about how they used to talk about the crosses in churches and on top of churches called roods, R-O-O-D. Well, that is door backwards. So all these things, a lot of things I've learned from these different games. They're a plethora of information. Again, they like to hide things in plain sight. So in this game, an ancient basically explorer, Brendan the Navigator, is known as, but in the game he's known as Brendan of Clonfert, F-E-R-T, and he talks about, like I mentioned in the video, that he's gone around all these energy sites and left a puzzle for you to solve. So you go to these locations in the game, and when you get there, you come to a stele, which is, you know, a little rock. It has the cymatics, has a sigil, it has the, whatever you want to call these, Celtic knots, curses, charms, at these sites, etchings, and underneath a brief description of what he was going through at that location. And he talks about the Nephilim, but they only want to be able to strong enough by having the power of the Lord in them. And if you remember from the first video, I do talk about were leylines, the spirits of the fallen, and this is what these are trying to harness, these energy by these megalithic structures, and that's what I mentioned, the Assassin's Creed angle. So you get to these locations, you read his message, and then you look and you see the images. Now I wonder if this actually happened in real. Did they have a way of marking these stones with these images? And from your perspective, remember, all key is perspective. I saw a brilliant one the other day saying lose, and then when you look at a different location it says win. And there's so many, it's true, perspective is key on how we see this realm, and what influences is what we learned up to then. So you get to these locations, you see this mark, and you have to somehow match this little image on a lot of the stones that's behind. And you're moving around, you're climbing on stones, and when you finally get it, you know, you basically sit down, you meditate, and when, like Ryder was talking about the root chakra, the energy comes through you. You see the light coming out from the ground, then it goes through you, and then up to into the sky, and you get a point for which you then can add skills. So when I've always saw this, I thought, wow, could this be what actually happened at these locations? Because really we don't really know what's going on. Yes, the line to the celestial stars, to this calendar, and so on and so on, but we just don't know what went on at these sites. And when we see things like this, are these giving you a little glimpse into the past of what these places were? You used to go to these places and pray on the site of a fallen, or the crux, the crocs, where it crossed the harness, the energy. Is that why they built these standing stones there? For you to get this pattern, and at that angle, you then reach enlightenment. You gain a skill point, because that's what it talks about in the first video, that the fallen taught humans basically how to fight war, root of words, the spells, and the energy could not be destroyed because it was divine. Hence these locations. So when you put two and two together, and you're thinking, what if well, they were saying some quite valid point in the games, you're like, wow, I did not expect that to come true, or what you think is true. I mean, look at some of the things that we're talking about now. There's one more fallen angel to find, and if I remember right, it was a she, and it says only the fallen could build these places because they had the strength of the Nephilim, strength of God, the power behind them. Is it you only gain this strength by walking these lines? Was the oxygen level stronger in theirs and they were bigger, or were they from the fallen cast out to live in the chamber, which is the celestial one's chamber? Is it different ones, different chambers? There's so many things that you can look at this. And when I'm watching old documentaries and I'm seeing these, people in what they call now national parks in the States, and it talks about how the people took the tops off and took the shoes off and they walked up the mountains, or they walked into the park. I'm like, they're taking the shoes off, basically exposing the souls. And it talks about these people doing weird shit, being corrupt, being empowered, being overpowered, being possessed. And I was like, is this what's happening at certain locations? Is there energy, not good energy? It's just positive, it's just negative. But then again, what is positive or negative? Does it actually mean good or bad? Or just is how it's influencing you? I want to look at everything and just think, what if we got it all wrong? Once if you get charged up the wrong way, you get influenced the wrong way, can these bodies handle it? So when you're watching all these documentaries, just take a note that, do they take off the shoes and walk? I've saw a lot of them saying that Jim took off his shoes and walked, up the mountain. I'm like, why'd you take your shoes off? So these locations intrigue me, these national parks, ley lines. And when you're seeing in the game, it's talking about how you tread in his holy light. It's the light, these locations, these frequencies. Again, I've been talking about this for so long without actually coming to this point. I've been talking about other points that all connect. I've done talks about the fallen being star thoughts, and they were on the old channel. I've talked about how they're above us or below and all these different links. And yet, so I've been talking it for a while. I've done an angels and demons video about spell etymology, showing you the frequencies on low and high, and Ryder included it in the recent video. So I've been talking for this for a while, and if you put everything together, you get to a big bloody wow. We're talking about in the game, again, all these patterns. They left his presence here on Earth. How did they leave his presence? Is it in these ley lines, locations? Certain locations have more power, more positive, negative influence on us. Because think about it. I was watching one of these documentaries, and it said we went to this ancient site and there was a burial there. They took pictures, they felt nausea, sick, etc., etc. Got home, saw some of the pictures, and a black cloud is above the head. Now, is this negative energy feeding on the solar essence, or is it again just an entity being attracted by our force and just trying to contact? But obviously that contact has a negative effect on us, not knowingly what they're doing. Or is it they're knowing what they're doing? So you can just see it. Is it me thinking too much again? Probably. So it's talking about how you tread in this world and on these locations and his presence is there. How it's up to us to absorb his light. The light of the angels has been infused throughout the earth. I felt his power. Out of the park. What I've been saying appears in these games. And then you see in obviously Rudolf Koch's book, The Symbol and Signs, that included that some of these signs were to ward off evil spirits. Or is it to ward off us from those locations? If you take your shoes off in this location, to reveal your souls, and we absorb, this is what will happen. You might be possessed. So I don't know. I leave it up to you, brilliant guys out there. But I think I'm onto something. It's like, why are these saying this? There's got to be a reason they're saying this. Again, is it to make us think too much? Are they revealing some of the truth hidden and in games and movies and films? So when you then go in to look at ley lines, like I was talking about, leylines goes to lie. What are they lying about? Are they lying about how it's not good for you, but it's negative? Or is it the fact that this is where the spirits of the fallen lay? For the fallen. All these things can be all of the above. Is that why they build star forts, sir? Call them star forts. Originally, I did a video and I talked about how they're called bulwarks and how the connecting energy was about the fallen, where they used them for resets. But now I can see how it's all connected. And if I didn't give up, I wouldn't have got where I am today if I let the negativity get in. So we're talking about ley lines being the fallen, the spirit, as it says from Enoch. And then you have other locations in the world like uber super triangles, like the Bermuda Triangle or Devil's Triangle, and they're what is known as vile vortices. Some say there's 12, some say there's 10, depending on, you know, what you believe in. But that got me to thinking of the words being used. If these are weird phenomena that science can't say what's going on, why call them vile? Because they're saying it's emphasised bad energy. Well, if you look at it and break it up like I did, vi means force, vile, force of the gods, force of the fallen. So these are where these are the locations where they actually fell, and ley lines are the veins spreading out, connecting to each other. So again, these are just me what ifs, and it's just wow, vile, force of the gods. And then if you put the vi, which means force, it's infused with devil. Remember, I did dev-l in the last video, and now with vi, dev-i, dev the celestial one, the god, the force. And remember, L on its own can be the Elohim. You don't need to put the EL or the AL. So we're talking about the force of the celestial ones. Again, devil. And you're just like, wow, I'm getting giddy like a child. So you can see how this, just from a pure game, it's influenced me. And again, games do influence you, and people will say they can influence you the bad way, but that is the intent of the wand. Yes, they can influence you in a bad way. You'd be lying to say not. But again, it's what is influencing you, what's corrupting you, what is possessing you on these energy ley lines. Again, people talk about watching TV is bad for you. It is. But what is a computer? What is a phone? Zombies. What are you watching this? What are you critiquing me on? You're using a Ouija board, a scrying mirror. Why are most Bibles black? Like the scrying, the tablets. You know what I mean? And you just have to think, you know what I mean? Everything, it's all about intent, the spells. Yes, TV can be bad, but it can also be good. Phones can be bad, but also can be very good. Again, with computers. It's all about the intent and how you use it. They're here to stay. If you'd only use it and be corrupted, go and sit in a field and stay in your own. That is basically the only way you're going to do it. But you'll go mad because you need the influence of others, and sometimes this is the only way for people to connect from one side of the realm to the other. And has its very bad points, yes, but it has its very good points too. How many people has it saved, and how, on both sides. So I always say to people, don't critique the TV if you're not going to critique computers, phones, books. The book, one book has made people go to war more than any other book. And I'll leave that to people, so you can just see everything can be indoctrination. It's how you use it. This realm is magic. And when it's full of vile vortices, the forces of the fallen, what is these locations? Again, we are walking bare feet. Is this how they possess? That is the intriguing thing, how they influence us. You know, we can walk through doors and we forget what we're coming in for. That's the doorway effect. You know, what connects and it's breaking up this energy. Are we in the matrix? Are we in the motherboard, the circuit board? And the energy is, the veins are throughout this realm. And when you stand on a certain location, is that a location of a baddie or a goodie or neutral? Is luck something that you come upon by standing on an energy location? Makes you think churches, cathedrals, you know, some are good, some are bad, because they're on certain frequency ley lines. Sometimes someone will like heavy metal death thrash, whatever you call it, and love it and see the good in it. And someone will watch it and go, oh, that's devil worship at its finest. And again, on soft pop or whatever that they're trying to influence it. So you can see there's always someone's perspective on everything in this realm and its influence. What influences? Again, I've done videos on angels and demons, the etymology that have been the fallen. And then from that old book talking about the fallen, it's the energy, it become a spirit. But why is everything got to be an evil spirit? Why can't it be a good spirit? You can see my point. When we live in a realm of lies, who is it to judge that this lie is the truth and your truth is a lie? It's the only person is you. And how long have I been saying, why is the truth personal? Because you are in the middle of the balance between positive and negative. Something positive will have a negative effect on someone else and vice versa. The world is truly screwed up and we're in the middle of it. And these videos help me to get these thoughts out and show you what I'm thinking. People will see a negative in my positive, because that is what you are. If you are swimming and you are vile at heart, doesn't matter what good you see, you will always see vile. You will always see bad. That's why when people watch me, is this t-shirt on, he's wearing that colour, is this? It's because they're swimming in that. That's what you are at heart. You know what I mean? So this is how it influences. And this is why these videos are intriguing. Something so benign as a video game can influence a lot for good and bad. And are they telling some form of truth in this, or are they getting us to overthink things? This world is full of magic. And when I'm seeing documentaries talking about how that if you work, but these people were taking the tops off and the shoes to get close to nature. Nature can be very cruel and yet so beautiful. What is the common denominator? It's the veins underneath the ground, the energy in those locations. Why does so much bad things happen in certain locations? Because of the energy forces influences people. Because ley lines, like we go to bed every night, lying down, sending our energy somewhere, dying and being reborn the next day. Is that not a power of the God? Why do we have to recharge if we are power? All these for future videos, no doubt. And I just hope you enjoyed just this little glimpse into my mind. And I had to do this because people were asking about Brendan the Navigator in the sense of this game and the Assassin's Creed angle. And it just blows me away. You cannot hear what was said when you go to these locations and go, wow, did they really need to put that in a game? They didn't. You know what I mean? So hopefully you enjoyed it, guys. I'm enjoying this, what could be a series. It's really, rejuvenating me, giving me the energy. that, because life's hard for us guys, isn't it? And my hard doesn't mean it's your hard, you know what I mean? You know, we can't say, well, I work harder than you, because it's not. We're all unique, and we need each other. We do. We need each other for the good and the bad. And, you know, although I'm not a part of the community, I don't want to be a part of it, because there's just too much filth in it, too much negativity. It rubs off on you, and you smell of it. You know what I mean? So I want to just be me. Let me be me. And I'm happy doing that. I'm happy when I can do the content showing you what's going on in this man, because it's not fact, it's not this. I'm just showing you connections I see. And it can be bollocks, it can be good wows, it can be whatever we make of it. So guys, thank you for the love, support, the comments. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. Check out the rest of the content, because some of these videos you might have not saw, like the angels and demons in the spell etymology. There's so many videos I've done in there. And check the back catalogue. I'm also on Twitter as What the Flock TV, and you get glimpses of maybe future videos, hints. You get see what I'm thinking about when I can post. So please, just if you're not on it doesn't matter, guys. But if you are, just give me a hit up, a follow. So take care. You know, my eyes are watering now. I'm hungry too. I'm hungry. So stay safe. Always wear a smile. Don't let the bar stools grind us down. And onwards with this video. The Elohim, Lords of the Electric, Assassin's Creed Part 2. Bye guys. Stay safe. Bye.